So chat, it is time for Fat Electrician, talking about military-grade toilet paper, which I am not familiar with. I'm not familiar with military-grade toilet paper might be. And it's thick, so this is gonna be funny. So let's check it out, shall we?
And all my notes and everything completely ready to do a video on Sergeant Reckless, and then this happened and completely derailed my entire train of thought. My wife somehow found and then accidentally bought, or bought it on purpose to upset me, single-ply toilet paper.
Oh no, not the single-ply. Oh no, 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 no. Mrs. Electrician, you done fucked up.
It was at this moment that he knew. He fucked up.
We're talking about military-grade toilet paper, which is honestly going to be a brief history of toilet paper, and then it's rapidly just going to devolve into me yelling my frustrations at the existence of single-ply toilet paper, also known as military-grade toilet paper, or John Wayne toilet paper, because it's rough, it's tough, and it doesn't take shit from anybody. So if you're here to learn about military history, sorry, not going to be a whole lot of that this week. But if you wanted to watch the world's angriest, most unhinged TED Talk about bathroom habits, well, you're in luck.
Yay!
I make dad jokes without trying sometimes, apparently. Anyways, our story begins at the dawn of mankind. People have always been wiping their butts, it's just a matter of how. And until very recently in human history, you were kind of just stuck with using whatever you had readily available. If you lived in the woods, you would use some leaves, maybe some moss. Apparently, if you lived near the ocean, you would use seashells, which I don't really understand, but whatever.
What? Okay, chat. I will freely admit, I am completely unfamiliar with the use of seashells for wiping your ass. Is this just a reference to Demolition Man, or is this legitimate? Like, yeah, I know I know the Demolition Man reference. Is he just making a joke about Demolition Man, or is this like an actual thing? Oh god, yeah, that, oh god, oh man, oh god. Yeah, it sounds painful.
He doesn't know how to use the 3 seashells.
Then mankind advances to the point that we start recording history. We know that the Greeks were wiping their butts with broken pieces of pottery. We know that the Romans used a communal...
Jesus! Oh my god! Why would you tear up your ass with broken pieces of pottery to wipe it? That's worse than the seashell, because the pottery can actually gut you. Oh, and I've heard about using pine cones Pactra. I have heard of that. Oh, humanity, you nasty. You nasty humanity.
Sponge on a stick that they would then just leave in a bucket of vinegar next to the toilet for the next guy, which is disgusting. And then it's also pretty well documented that the Native Americans and Pilgrims were wiping their butts with corn cobs, which I have questions, but I'm also not sure I want answers. Fast forward to 590 AD, China is credited with the first use of toilet paper, which makes sense because they invented paper. Now, fast forward again, like 900 years, nobody else is using toilet paper yet.
Cast? I'm betting that some of the pottery that they found was indeed shit pottery. You are probably correct. Whether or not they tested for the poop, I don't know. But I'll bet you some of those pottery shards that they have found had the poop on them. So some of the pottery that you see in museums that has been properly reassembled by archaeologists and historians, you may be looking at poop pottery. Think about that next time you go to a museum.
yet. It's 1455, and King Henry VI has just created a new position in his royal council, the Yeoman of the Stool. This job title is awarded to a man by the name of William Grimsby, and for the rest of his life, his entire job is to clean the king's butt. Then, after 30 years of being the royal cheek cleaner, he retires, the position gets renamed to Groom of the Stool, and I'm not kidding you, one person has held this position from the years of 1455 to 1901. The English monarch has always had a royal butt cleaner. And this is the part where you're like, okay, where's the punchline? The chubby electron guy's just trying to make fun of Great Britain again. Like, no, this is real life. There's no punchline. It's documented. It's actually documented.
Oh my God. Grooms of the Stool. Kanito, that is a matter of opinion. Okay, I will say this now, since you have so christened me as such. As Empress, no one is wiping my ass. I will take care of that myself. Thank you kindly. The minute one of you starts approaching my ass with toilet paper, we gonna have a problem. Now, that's in one situation. There are others. Yeah.
Documented every dude that's ever held the position of royal butt wiper from 1455 to 1901, and most of them got knighted for it. Could you imagine that guy hanging out at the bar with all the other knights like, hey, how'd you get knighted? Let me tell you, man, I've seen some shit. Fast forward again, 1799, we're like 40 years into the Industrial Revolution. America has won the Revolutionary War against Great Britain, officially
And, oh God, Gamasunin? I hope I pronounced that right. Thank you for the follow and welcome.
Upgrading from the USB to the USA. It is at this point that the mass production...
To everyone that's saying I'm using a litter box, that's for you.
Of paper begins, you start seeing things like the Farmer's Almanac, the Sears catalog, and overall scrap paper becomes much more readily available, and that's what people start using to wipe their butts.
I do
which
not,
is actually why today,
Jameson.
if you look at the Farmer's Almanac, there's a black dot in the upper right-hand corner. That's so you know where to drill the hole out so you can hang it on a hook in the outhouse. It's kind of like an homage to the history of the fact that the Farmer's Almanac was primarily used as toilet paper for a couple hundred years.
Hey, reading material.
So Farmer's Almanac, Sears catalogs, and outhouses are pretty...
Wait a minute. Oh my God, I just now got that. Until Nick had just talked about this, I didn't understand. I did not for the life of me understand what the fuck this was for when I saw this movie. It didn't click, let me put it that way. It did not click when this scene happened in the movie. It never clicked for me. Oh, this is toilet paper. Like, I didn't even realize it. But I mean, we had, I figured like, okay, it just like the toilet paper just wasn't in the shot because it's a very confined space and they had to get both the actors in there. And I figured the toilet paper just wasn't in the shot. I didn't realize this was the toilet paper. Because it happened so fast. And, the scene is a quick scene. I didn't even realize it. I do now, but I didn't realize it before.
Hey, reading material.
So Farmer's Almanac, Sears catalogs, and outhouses are pretty much the toilet standard in North America for the next 100 years. Then, late 1800s, indoor plumbing finally becomes more prevalent in like hotels, fancy businesses, and really rich people houses. Also worth noting, we could have had the flushable toilet way sooner, because despite the fact that they weren't really around until the late 1800s, it was actually invented in the late 1500s by a poet by the name of Sir John Harrington, but the entire idea was suppressed by Queen Elizabeth I because Sir John Harrington was critical of the English government at the time. So she decided that she was going to take his blueprints, have one made just for herself, and then never let it see the light of day for like a couple hundred years. So yeah.
That bitch. That bitch. Like, think about if we'd had flushable toilets way back then, how might that have inspired other engineers of the time to come up with newer technologies? Like, we could be, and that could have like snowballed into newer technologies coming out sooner, and we could have been into a more advanced stage of technological revolution at this point. Fuck that bitch.
Yeah, she was literally sitting on the only toilet known to mankind and hogging the technology all to herself. So go ahead and add that to the list of reasons that the First Amendment's important, because without the freedom of speech, some government official might come along and literally deprive mankind of flushable toilets for like 300 years just because they don't like what somebody's saying. So then, 1897, an American inventor by the name of Joseph Gayety invents the world's first commercial toilet paper. He kind of markets it as like a medical tissue paper for the bathroom that's supposed to be better for you than the Sears catalog or the Farmer's Almanac. For one, it doesn't clog up your toilet like those do because it dissolves in water. And for two, it hasn't gone through a printing process, so it should be healthier for you because a printing process back then incorporated like lead ink and arsenic and all other types of hazardous chemicals that you probably shouldn't be pressing up against your dirt button every day for your entire life. And the entire idea is kind of a huge flop because the American public is too shy to actually go out and buy toilet paper because I guess at this point in time, it was taboo to let anybody know that you pooped. So rather than selling directly to the consumer, he would end up doing private label stuff and selling it to like hotels and all the businesses that had toilets. So instead of having like the Gayety brand of toilet paper, he would have, such and such hotel would have their own private label packaging and he would sell it directly to them. And that's kind of how toilet paper.
That's smart. Basically using people's repressed feelings of like, oh, we must be proper. He said this is when this was around the time when like the showing of the ankles was also considered scandalous. No, sorry, no, it's further along than that, probably. But yeah, I mean it's smart. Like he was able to hide the fact that this is toilet paper by just saying like, okay, this is branded with your name on it. Yeah. Yeah, and now we have LewTubers. They can... Exactly, yeah. It's like showing an ankle used to be considered scandalous. And now we've got Cotton orgasming on stream.
Paper got off the ground. Then over the course of the next 50 years, indoor plumbing becomes even more common amongst normal people, toilet paper really takes off, and then in 1942, St. Andrew's paper mill does something revolutionary, something that has changed the entire face of mankind.
Yeah, and by the way, just for clarity, I'm joking about Cotton. I know she doesn't actually like I know she doesn't like orgasm on stream. That was a joke. Just because she is the most prevalent LewTuber that I'm familiar with. It was a joke.
The genius scientists working for this paper mill said,
Mannix, I have ankles. Look, ankles. Ankles, chat. Ooh, are you getting turned on? You getting turned on by my ankles? Is it sexy? Ooh, look at that. I'm gonna even make them bigger. Ooh, oh, look at that chat. Look at those ankles. Oh, I can't give you bare feet to this. Like, sorry. Moo. Ow. Besides, you couldn't even see the bunk. Yes, free ankle show today. Aren't you thrilled? That Canito Cottontail VA? That's what I was talking about. She is the most prevalent one that I'm aware of. Or the most graphic one that I'm aware of. That I've seen, I should say.
Paper mill said,
There it is.
holy fuck, we should just sell this. And from that point on, everybody ditched single-ply toilet paper and only made 2-ply or greater toilet paper for the rest of human history, because that was the right ethical thing to do, is what I want to tell you, but that's not the reality.
Good morning,
we live
Just
in, because
Joe.
somehow single-ply toilet paper still exists, and it's bullshit. Okay, maybe I'm out of line, but I like my toilet paper the same way Pixar likes their moms. Thick, okay? Not only am I mad about this...
He forgot to say the ants, too. It's the moms and the ants that are thick in Pixar. Mm-hmm. Let us not forget Aunt Cass. Mm-hmm.
I'm legitimately confused at the science that goes into this technology. I mean, how they get it to be so sharp, yet so fragile at the same time is terrifying. Buh! You know, single-ply toilet paper might actually be better for the environment because you're saving trees. Buh! Okay, look, do I like trees and want to help save the environment? Sure, why not? But let's be honest here. There's a time and a place, and the minute your finger breaks through that single-ply toilet paper, fuck them trees. Okay, I'm just trying to get clean and get back to work. I don't need to get in touch with my inner self. Furthermore, it's definitely
Literally, getting in touch with your inner self. Hee. Chat. Okay, admit it. How many of you had how many of you has had the critical failure of the toilet paper at the most inopportune moment? I know some of you have had it happen. Don't think you can lie to me. I know it's happened to you before. That critical failure where you just freeze and go, dear God, what have I done? And then you are desperately scrambling to wash your hands afterwards and praying that there's no lingering odor. I'm not even talking about with 1-ply, Canito. I'm talking about with 2-ply also. It can happen with 2-ply, I'm sure.
not gonna save any trees, because the minute I realize that it's single-ply toilet paper, here's what's gonna happen.
Yep.
2 hours later.
Because I'm like 250 pounds, it's summertime, and I know that with the slightest amount of gooch sweat, that first layer of single-ply toilet paper is gonna dissolve on contact like a fucking Listerine strip, okay? I'm not taking any chances. Unless, God forbid, I'm in a public restroom and some corporate executive has decided that he's gonna raise profit margins this year by really cutting back on the toilet paper expense and installed one of these fucking things that rations toilet paper. These things should be illegal. It's cruel and unusual punishment and false imprisonment, okay? I went into this bathroom thinking that I was just gonna have a normal bathroom experience and go on with my day, and now I'm in a fucking Saw movie.
Hello. I want to play a game.
Okay, we have to.
Okay, that was not loud enough. I will do it one better.
I want to play a game.
There you go, Nick. I did a much louder one for you. Oh, and by the way, correct me if I'm wrong, but is single-ply toilet paper also not what is commonly marketed with camping equipment as quick dissolving toilet paper? It's basically just single-ply toilet paper. I'm reasonably sure that is what their rapidly dissolving toilet paper is. It's just basically single-ply.
To stop this, because the way this is going, it's 2023 right now. I guarantee you, if we don't do something about this, by 2030, I'm gonna have to watch an ad on the toilet paper dispenser before it gives me a single sheet of single-ply toilet paper.
Shut up! You're giving them ideas. Shut the fuck up! You're giving them ideas, because they are gonna do that.
And I'm gonna have to go through 45 minutes of ads just to get enough paper to wipe my ass next time I have to go to the bathroom in public. So if you're like some high-level executive or a CEO or some marketing guy at a big company,
yeah, no
and they
kidding,
come to the
Jameson.
table and they're like, we're really gonna cut down on toilet paper expenses this year, that's how we're gonna increase profit margins, hear me out. Don't do that. Just be like, go the exact opposite direction of everywhere else and then run an ad. Imagine if you went to a gas station and that gas station had ads that were running on TV that were like, come to Fat Electrician's Taquitos and Gas, where we have medium grade toilet paper, because we think that if you're smart enough to shop here, you're also smart enough to know how to wipe your own ass. It's a really good marketing strategy, because then every time they go to a different gas station and they see this shit, they're gonna be like, oh wow, this gas station doesn't trust me to wipe my own ass. I should probably go go to Fat Electrician's Taquitos and Gas. I'm putting that on a shirt. Fat Electrician's Taquitos and Gas. We trust you to wipe your own ass. It's going to be perfect. I'm so worked
And he's also a poet. Hey, not only is he a marketeer, he's a poet.
up about this. I'm just going to have to run for public office. That's going to be my entire platform.
What the
I'm going
fuck
to
just
abolish
happened?
single-ply toilet paper and then leave you alone. It's the only thing I can do at this point. I mean, if we can strong-arm Apple into starting to use the USB-C port like every other phone on the planet, we should be able to abolish single-ply toilet paper. So
Okay, Nick, I gotta say, the US did not strong-arm Apple to do it. Apple had to use the USB-C charging port because the EU actually filed a fucking lawsuit about it. One, so now any Apple product sold in the EU must have the USB-C charging port, and Apple said, fine, it's too expensive to do dual stuff like that, we'll make them all USB-C. So it was the EU that forced Apple through the courts. There was no bullying involved here. So I have to be specific about that.
I guess, in conclusion, if you made it this far into this extremely unhinged TED Talk, thank you. Hopefully you learned something about the history of toilet paper, or Queen Elizabeth I suppressing the toilet because she doesn't believe in the freedom of speech, or something along those lines. Best way to support the channel is go buy some merch at thefatelectrician.com. Quack bang, out. Now I have to go buy real toilet paper, then I'm going to finish my Sergeant Reckless video, and then I have to decide if I'm either going to run for public office or open up my own chain of gas stations.
Go gas stations.
I've not got to do
You'll
an
be
angry
happier.
rant video in like almost a year, so I guess it's time for one of those. I just don't know what topic I'm going to do it on yet.
Is this the right kind of toilet paper?
No. Where did this, like, army toilet paper? Where did you even get this?
It was cheap.
Sweetheart, we can afford like the medium grade toilet paper. This toilet paper is so thin I can see the future through it.
What's the future hold?
Poop on my finger, more than likely.
Oh, that was great. That was great. They are a cute couple, Pink. They are.